Today we have the couple of people from Lee County ATC that are involved with our tiny house project. We'll let you two introduce yourselves, and then we'll kind of get the show rolling here a little bit. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
All right. I'm Tommy Judd. I teach carpentry here at Lee County ATC, and we started building tiny houses when the grant first come out. We were one of the first ones to actually get the grant. Built one of the first tiny houses. Been building them since.
My name's Craig Harold. I'm the principal at Lee County Area Technology, and I try to run and get a few things when Tommy needs something. That's about where I'm at on the tiny house project.
You've also got electricity program there. Your electricity teacher wasn't able to join us today probably, but you do share, work together on this project with him.
Yeah, he's got students at this time.
Okay. All righty. Well, we want to start off with a little bit. This thing started rolling last year, and then we all got cut off about March, and then now we're hopefully getting back in the groove again. But tell us a little bit about how some of the challenges this virtual learning has presented you. What's the hardest things you deal with there?
Right now is getting students in here to do some work. I've got a few students coming in, but I don't know if I'm going to have the ones that I actually need to do much of the work with it. And it's getting a slow start, it seems like. Yeah.
Do you, you said you had a few, do you have very many returning students? I mean, what would you say you have returning?
Well, right now I'm only averaging about 4 to 5 students per class.
Really?
That's in person. And the rest of them are virtual at home. So
yeah, that's a little bit of a challenge, but if you get 4 or 5 good ones, you can do a whole lot, can't you?
Yeah. Most of them are returning. So once we get started, we should take off pretty good. Good.
I guess you've been able to cover some of the safety aspects and simple procedures of virtual.
Just now getting all the safety tests and everything done and starting to get them in the shop. And of course, it's going to, with keeping 6-foot rule and everything, that's going to be a challenge in the tiny house.
Yeah.
It's such a small area and everything we like is inside. So.
Well, I'll go ahead and talk about this a little bit now. We've talked some on the other videos. You were one that were kind of interested in possibly getting another trailer and then starting both projects at the same time. And with this social distancing, that would be a really good idea. And we, first thing we heard, we called the manufacturer that had built these trailers for the last 4 years, and they said no, they can't build them. So that was a pretty big lick right there. So we did a little checking. The guy that Philip over at P&J that we get our trailers from, he and I put our heads together, and there's actually a local guy that builds trailers down the road, probably 5 miles from where he sells those trailers. We've contacted him, and it looks like it's not final yet, but it looks like he may be interested in building the tiny houses for us this year. And I actually met with him yesterday, and we're waiting just on a final price, but it looks like we're close. And then if we can get him on that, then we can maybe get you another trailer that you can get in here and work on both those at the same time, and might help with that social distancing, I'm sure, at this time, until things get lined out.
Yeah, especially when we get maybe some more students in the classroom.
Right. And it's going to be a month or so down the road before we get one of those, I'm sure, if everything goes good, But he kind of is, this whole project, we feel like, has come together as a team effort, and he kind of adds another little dimension to our story. He's a former vocational student. When I was teaching in Martin County, he was actually a student there. So he started his own welding business, been in business for 15 years or more, I'd say. So he does a real good job. He's well reputable in the community. So it's kind of adds a little step to our story. If possibly we build these trailers local, then you have the tiny house built local. So it really adds another step to our story, I think. So we're working on trying to get those for you guys. And tell us, Tommy, a little bit about your progress thus far. I've got a few pictures that I'll flip through. I've only got about 4, I think, that I had, but I'll flip through a few pictures. But tell us a little bit about where you left off with the tiny house when this thing hit, and then what your plans are as far as completion, maybe even get into what you're going to put on the walls, and maybe a timeline of how long you think it might be if things go good. Just tell us a little bit about your project thus far and how what you plan to do to complete it?
Actually, when we shut down in the spring, we were putting the walls on, putting the finished material on the walls, the paneling.
Right.
Uh,
Okay, so this picture doesn't show you, it shows insulation, but you've actually put some stuff on the
yeah,
walls.
we're a little farther along than that.
Okay.
So
And here's another one of the inside. This was way back. This is just when you didn't have much insulation. I was really impressed with this project. You know, we've been in, this is your 4th year, you said, and this one is the first one we've ever had with this roof design. I was really impressed with it, especially after talking to you and your students. I was over there when you had this thing just mocked up pretty well. And I asked one of the students, did you all cut all those rafters like that? He said, yeah, we hand cut every one of those. So, you know, you can go buy trusses sometimes, but it may not fit that just exactly. So I'm sure there was some math involved with this process right here. And I was real impressed to see that after it went up and how good it was and what a great job they did with that. And, you know, that makes it harder. It's harder to do, it takes longer, but they wanted to be unique, I guess, in building that. So tell us a little bit about who planned that and what went into that design.
well, we've actually built some storage buildings that used a roof like it, and for that type of roof, you can get a little more area,
Right.
other than having a flat roof.
Yeah.
But we actually drew it out on the floor right there in front of the showering wall that you see, and tacked some boards down and made a jig, like just like you do trusses. And they used a pattern and marked and cut all the pieces and put them in, and put the plywood and glued everything, put screws in it. So they kind of learned, you know, partially truss manufacturing plus rafters all at the same
Right.
time right there.
Right. And it's great that they kind of stepped out on a limb here. It's like nobody ever done one of these. It's going to take more work. There's more error. Could be, you know, you could get in trouble here. This thing could not line up just right, but man, it's perfect. They did a great job on that. And I commend them and you for working together with them and getting that thing like that. It's going to be really nice when you get that finished. I'm anxious to see what all you've got when we finish up with it. I've got one more, I think, right here. This is your exterior. This is of course this is most of it done out here. Tell us a little bit about this.
Kids I let them look through the colors and everything, and of course they want to go with the more popular color anymore that ends up costing a little more. It is a little better grade siding, but
we're gonna be virtual friendly.
They use the metal on the roof, so they learning how to do that, and install the windows.
Looks great. I'm sure they learned about trying to prevent leaks on this thing. And I actually see, well, yeah, you've done flashing up there between the joins on that, haven't you? So they're to avoid any
Yeah.
leaks on that.
Yeah.
You see, some people don't do that, and that could present a problem down the road, couldn't it? But I'm glad you're exposing those kids to all those different areas, and like I say, letting them have input on the colors, even though it may cost a little more money. It's nice to have their input, and they're buying, and it
Yeah.
buys them into that project.
Yeah, they end up appreciating that a little more, seems like,
I guarantee you.
when they've had a part in all the color and everything.
Well, given the scope of things now, what do you see as far as completion? I mean, if things go good, could you get this thing finished, you know, around the first of the year? Do you think it might take most all the year? Or what's your thoughts on that?
I'm not sure on by the first of the year, but I think, and at least before the end of the year or end of the school year, we'll have it done,
Right. Well, good.
ready to display.
What about the wiring? I never noticed. Have you got much of the wiring in there?
Yeah, it's all in, and I think they've actually put where we actually had the sheeting on the walls, they'd actually went ahead and put some of the receptacles and switches and stuff in.
That's right. I saw the wiring on the outside was stubbed in, and then if you put sheeting on the inside, obviously you've got that completed. So yeah, you're pretty far along on it there, sounds like.
It's mainly just getting down to the small finishing parts now.
Okay.
Flooring.
Yeah. Getting our cabinets and stuff in.
Well, you said something about this was your fourth year, and I remember too, I was principal at Knott County, and we built one the same year that you did when this thing started, but this your fourth year, actually your fifth year, but your fourth tiny house. But tell me a little bit about what this grant, this started out as a $15,000 grant. What's this grant meant to you as far as preparing your kids and putting them on some career paths, maybe different career paths, but tell me a little bit about how you think that's affected your kids.
Now, this is the only project that I've actually done that involves every part of the residential construction. And
It does.
and I can show them. And if they took the time and followed along with everything, they could more than likely go out and start something, do a lot of it themselves,
And it ties to other careers, don't it? Where you work together with electricity class, those students work together,
Yeah.
and one gets exposed to one and the other gets exposed to that.
A lot of my students, they'll take electricity too, which I've got my electrical license, so they kind of look at that and see that it kind of goes together,
It does.
and it kind of works out good. It always did for me.
Sometimes it may branch out to a totally different, something I haven't seen, but it's still dealing with construction. I believe you've got one success story I heard about last time I visited your school. Wasn't there a young man left your program last year and working local and something with rebar or steel? Tell us a little bit about that and what he's doing and the kind of money he's making.
Which it's actually my stepson, but that company has came to us before, and I always went through the welding program.
Mhm.
But where he was in welding too, but with the construction background and everything, he's took off with that job. He understands even with rebar, there's construction going on.
Yeah, concrete forms and measuring, and the work ethic and stick to itness. I mean, it was a lot that helped that kid.
He's moved up to a higher level now, and I think his minimum pay is $48 an hour, up to
You
about
mean
68, depending.
$48 an hour, no college degree?
Yeah,
Yeah, 4 months out of school.
It can happen. It happens a lot, don't it?
Oh yeah.
he's been off for a past few days, but he's not liking that. But they're supposed to go back to work. Some of the companies he's worked with have had issues with COVID, and I think some of the concrete plants and stuff have had to shut down for a few days, but they should be getting back on track before too long.
Yeah. I don't mean to hog the show here. We got, Desi and Bernadette here too, but it's great to think that, I may be stepping on a limb, but I don't think I am. This project right here, and it's exposure of these kids to different ideas, and Mr. Harrell can chime in too. We do a lot more than just teach carpentry, how to drive a nail, how to cut a board, you're teaching, like he said, dependability, work ethic, all that. This project brings all that together, doesn't it? And it makes those kids better. And you might could almost say, without this project, that kid may not have gotten chosen for that job because he may not have been ready for that job. You see, but a project like this really pushes him, doesn't it?
And I think I'm going to chime in here just a minute and just say that I think that one of the things that helps too is that to have a teacher like you, Mr. Judd, because I've heard you say before that whenever you're working with these students that they may make a mistake, but it's not anything that can't be fixed. And so you allow them that opportunity to try new things and never make them feel like that they're making a mistake. I think that helps. And I think that just the demeanor that you have with your students, and because I've watched them, and I can remember being over there last year, and you have girls in your class, and that one particular girl that I'm thinking of last year, she kept those boys moving. And do you know, and I'm going to say this, and I think that that's a testament to you as well. Bernadette was with me, and she and I were over there, And that one little girl, she was giving those boys their marching orders, and they never said anything out of the way to her or made any kind of negative comment to her. And then, like I said, with you encouraging them and saying, well, yeah, maybe that didn't work, so let's think about this, and maybe we need to do it a little different. So I think that helps those kids as well.
And the girl side of it, a lot of them just have in their mind that it's something too difficult for them, but when they actually get out there, and the vinyl siding is lightweight and something that they could easily do.
Mm.
And that's what a lot of them seems like I have more of the girls want to participate on the vinyl siding than any of it. But
And that's pretty tedious. It's one other school I remember, they had a group of girls that did all their tile. They maybe they want those tough jobs that us guys don't want to do. It's like, I'd rather put up a 2x4, but it's great that they kind of find their little thing they like to do. And a project like this puts all that together. And I think the pressure, this is not an easy project. When we have a normal school year, you roll that trailer in August and roll it out completed at the end of the school year, 1 year. That in itself puts a lot of pressure on you as a teacher and the kids, the students, and everybody's got to work together to make this thing happen. And I think that instills these values we're talking about into those kids. And you're seeing it right now where those girls step up and say, hey, we'll do this siding right here. You all go do something else. And it's just great that you can work those kids like that and everybody kind of fits in their little spot. And then you put kids out, like you said, with the one young man. I'm sure you got many more stories to go with that. But, here a kid leaves school making $40-some an hour. So it's a win-win.